Most men who have really lived have had, in some shape, their great adventure. This railway is mine. James J. Hill, the Empire Builder.
For your safety, be aware of open stairwells in the vestibules at the ends.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chicago. At this time, Glacier, please look around your seated area. Overhead compartment, seat backs in front of you.
My great adventure began at Glacier National Park over 7 years ago.
I'm riding around with a 90-liter duffel bag on my back and a 20-liter backpack that weighs about 40 pounds. Gotta do what you gotta do. Climbing gear's in there, my bike touring gear, some clothes and a laptop.
Trains are the old school way of travel. It pains me to think at one stage this was considered fast. But without them, it would be hard to imagine what the fate of Glacier National Park would have been. Most people have no interest in taking such slow means of transportation. But since my first summer living in Glacier, I've always dreamed of traveling here the way it was intended to be, by train. I'm going to spend the next 72 hours traveling through the underbelly of America, the forgotten, dirty, and dusty parts tourists never see, emerging on the other side of the Continental Divide to one of the most pristine wilderness areas in the lower 48. Once I arrive, I'm going to spend the following 72 hours in the remote backcountry climbing the hardest peak in Glacier National Park. The driving force behind the rail line I sit now is James J. Hill. During his time developing the railroad, he knew in order for it to succeed, he had to invest in the areas it served as well as the rail line itself. Instead of servicing areas that already existed with his rail line, he made places exist that previously were inaccessible or too far away to be reasonable. The development of the railway helped establish Glacier National Park in 1910. The railroad was a major developer of visitor facilities in Glacier National Park from 1910 until after World War II. People traveled from all over the country via rail to visit Glacier, the crown of the country. The railway had developed a series of chalets and camps around the park. Many visitors would travel through the remote wilderness on horseback or by foot. The thought of this type of trip has always sparked my imagination, thinking of how insane it must have been to leave the comfort of the city and go to some truly remote wilderness. I've come all this way to meet up with Cam.
Crap. Did you get one too?
Yep.
Let everybody know how good these things look.
Through hundreds of miles hiked and thousands of miles on the road, we've spent over 7 years adventuring the backcountry together.
He's not even an ultra runner. This is just how he lives his life.
Hey man, we gotta face this pretty. Something's gotta be ugly.
These experiences have made us nothing short of best friends. Having shared so many hard days in the mountains, showerless nights sleeping under the stars, and gas station hot dogs, he's been there for a majority of my greatest mountaineering and climbing achievements, all but one. In 2017, we made a plan to climb the hardest peak in Glacier together with another friend, and when the weekend came around to do it, he could not get the full 3 days off to climb with us. He had two choices: either quit his job and climb, or work. And for once in his life, he made the responsible decision to stay behind.
Just remember, being out in the middle of nowhere, in the wilderness, is no excuse not to practice good dental hygiene.
That year led me to a successful summit, even after I got the worst cut of my life on my shin during the approach. Making a makeshift bandage out of Gorilla Tape felt like a true near miss. 2 years later, I returned to climb yet again with another friend, successfully summiting for a second time. While descending, I ate 2 packets of almond butter and discovered an unknown tree nut allergy. With a bit of luck, I met a stranger at a nearby campsite that was able to fill me full of Benadryl and save my life. Trying to get away scot-free from climbing this peak has proved to be one of the hardest parts.
So after 36 hours on the train, I made it to West Glacier. Staying with the homie RJ. He's putting us up.
If you guys see me in not a jolly state, thank this man.
Dude, the schwack's on.
Schwack
You gotta have the schwack's on.
Schwack cam.
Here in Glacier, the
It's not a fun
bushwhack
cam.
is a huge part of every climb. We gotta pack. We haven't packed anything.
That's yeah. I opted for the tossing and turning and the sore neck thing instead. Sure. Let's make this harder than it needs to be already. You know how I like to suffer.
Type 3.
Type 3 fun.
Type 3 fun starts in the bed.
It does.
3 a.m. when you can't sleep. So, lots of permit problems. Apparently, the permit issuing office will not issue a permit after 4:30 p.m. We showed up there at 4:35.
But it's open till 5.
It's open till 5, and then they wouldn't give us a permit. So we had to show up today at 7:30. You can't get into the park without a permit to get into the park. So we didn't have a permit for that. So we had to ride bikes into the park. It's been a whole morning. It's currently, 9:30? So we're finally, in the heat of the day, going to be making our way up.
Waited 6 years for this.
6 years he's been waiting to do this mountain. So Nyack is where we're hiking through right now. It's on the southern side of Glacier National Park. It's one of the least visited areas in the entire park. The trail conditions definitely show that.
Jasper!
Hey, bear. About a third of the way, distance-wise.
Distance-wise.
We have a lot of effort to give still. Most of that effort's gonna be in the last 5 miles. The approach trail is pretty gnarly, beating us up pretty good. Put some pants on, kind of save the shins. It's really so dirty. There it is. Well, we are officially done with our trail section for the day. About 2 miles as the crow flies. With all the fapping around, it's probably gonna be 3 or 4 miles. My estimation and time for that distance is about 3 to 5 hours, depending on how things are going.
Spirits are good, body is weak. Tends to be how life goes.
Oh yeah. At this stage, we have the map out. We are probably quite lost. We're close, but we don't know if we're in the right drainage or not, honestly. We're both pretty stressed about it. We kind of went out, the drainage dried up for some reason.
Shouldn't dry up.
It shouldn't be dry. And we kind of checked the coordinates on the map. We're probably reading it incorrectly, but it doesn't seem like we're in the right place. Pretty nervous at this stage. We are also both out of water and not near a water source. So. Oh my God.
In our usual fashion.
Just blowing the approach.
Just blowing it.
Oh my God.
This looks like it goes.
We've killed 45 minutes just
Finding a shortcut,
thinking about being lost.
which got us lost. When in fact we were probably... We're not sure yet.
Yeah, we're not even. Getting your ass handed to you on a bushwhack in Glacier National Park.
Nothing quite like it.
Honestly, everyone should try this once. Everybody should just get destroyed on a mountain in Glacier at some stage.
It's good for you. Builds character. Good cigarette.
It is a good cigarette. It's a needed cigarette. Oh. All right. Back to work.
Back to it. Break time's over. Clock back in, motherfucker.
There she is. Blowing. Woo.
How many hours is this now? Coming up on 12.
7:30.
10 and a half.
There it is. Have not gotten eyes on this thing in hours. To be fair, I was quite nervous. We were still lost. The sun's getting low. We are hurting. Deep in the pain cave.
It's gotta be right over that, huh?
Talus field is. I think the Talus field's right over this.
Dude, I gotta sit for 1 second, dude. You do. You can keep going.
Finally found a water source. We are right at the base of this mountain. There are mosquitoes everywhere. We have the tent all set up. It's mostly flat.
It's plenty good.
But it'll do for tonight. We maybe have another hour to approach, and then we're climbing, so I'll take it, honestly. Finding this water source was like the greatest moment of the entire day. The only problem is it's infested with mosquitoes. Since when do mosquitoes live in the Alpine? I just don't know.
Maybe about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes before we actually found camp and found water, where I had 0 in the tank. My legs were cramping up. Every single couple steps I had to stop and was getting delusional, hallucinating. Had no water. And so I shout out to Garrett. I say, hey, you go on. I'm just going to sleep here. And he says, absolutely not. And I said, fuck. But I'm glad he did. Glad he kept me going. Glad that we found water before having to get over that ridge behind us. Because feeling pretty fresh, pretty excited. It's going to be a good day.
I'm gonna come up this right-hand side ridge here and straight up to the summit. It's completely different.
Otherwise, we're pioneering a new route here.
There used to be a lake up here.
It's down there. There's a lake down there.
Yeah, that drained out too. Used to be closer. Unless we're completely lost.
Garrett has been up here, climbed this mountain twice already. This is his 3rd time, and he's very confused about what's going on because everything looks completely different.
The entire time I've been coming up this mountain today and yesterday, all I could think is this is very different. Something has changed. The drainage was easier than it used to be. There's supposed to be a little lake up here that's gone. At this stage, we don't know if we're going to summit at all. I'm pretty nervous, generally speaking. Uncharted territory. And at this stage, we're going to try to traverse up and around the corner and see if there's easier ground over there. But we might not be getting the summit today. I'm going to keep my expectations to a minimum and try and stay safe.
My God. This is gassing me too. Okay. I don't even think we want to get up there. We can't walk around that. You're off play. That's me. Climbing. That was good. Hitch your rope up on. This looks better. I think we don't want up. All right, well, we have to call it quits, unfortunately. It's disappointing, but it's the right call, quite frankly. It was not getting better. It's just getting worse progressively. And honestly, who knows? We don't even, if we risked it, we still might not have made it to the summit. Yeah, and we'd be wrapping down in the dark on a route that we just discovered. We don't even know if there's good anchor points to rappel off of. We have 30 feet of webbing. And only 30 feet of webbing, so disappointing, but you know, that's just what happens.
That was one of the weirdest days I've had in the mountains ever. Very surreal, continuously dehydrated. We broke down camp. Right now, it's a little after 4. We're just gonna go until 6 and then find a flat spot and then probably be in bed by like 9. I don't know. Who knows? So far, this entire trip has gone sideways, so I'm not getting my hopes up. 7 p.m. right now. We finally made it back down to water again. You know, this trip has been just hard all the way for various reasons, mostly from our own making. You know, sometimes you come into something a little overconfident and blow it super hard. That's what we did today. After some deliberation and getting a high point on St. Nick, checking the map, we're pretty sure we went up the wrong drainage and then tried to climb the harder side of the ridge, and that's why nothing looked familiar at all. Defeated would be a bit of an understatement. Morning of day 3. Filtering a bit of water. We've had our coffee. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get humbled in the mountains in various ways. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Can't complain too much, because we did find a nice camp spot on the side of this river. And I feel like we've had a lot of things go wrong, but all in all, we've been okay, so. Oh, are you all right? trying to record. Cam just took a little spill into the river at the very end. Like the trail. This pink marker right here, that says we are at the trail. We're done with all that. And literally 2 feet away, Cam slips and falls in the river for the first time in 3 days of all this river scrambling.
You can't make it
He's soaked. My legs are in so much pain from the bushwhack. The only option I have is to tape them with medical tape to finish this. We're about 2 hours away from the car. Oh my God. A little bit later than we expected. That was pretty hard. All for nothing. But in the end, it was a pretty beautiful experience that we'll laugh about in the future. I don't think that's going to be today. I don't even know if it'll be tomorrow. But all in all, it's not too bad to spend a couple of days in the backcountry. Glacier National Park. Even if it's getting your ass handed to you. All day, every day.